Hi, everyone. Welcome to another PI Pop In. This week, we're going to be talking about slip and falls and what to do if that happens to you. We've been doing our PI Pop In for around the last 6 weeks or so. So, hopefully, you've caught some of our previous videos. If you haven't, take a moment to go back and look at them. As I say on every video, unlike our family law practice, which is pretty predictable, or you kind of know if you're headed for a divorce, you kind of know if you're about to have a custody issue, you kind of know if you got a child support issue before it happens. Personal injury, completely unpredictable. We do auto accidents, and an accident is just that, something that's completely unexpected, wasn't intended to happen, and it can happen at any point, and we never know when that's going to be. You could slip and fall. Nobody goes into Publix and plans to fall and hurt their back. And so we try to put this information out so that you're educated in the event something happens to you or someone that you love. So today we're going to be giving you some tips on slip and falls and what to do. And I know a lot of people make a lot of fun of slip and fall cases. Like there's a lot of TikTok videos or jokes about, oh, I've fallen and hurt my back or whatever. But there are people get very, very hurt. If they fall, and if they fall in certain establishments, there's a level of responsibility that um, business owners and landlords have to take when it comes to their property. And so, if you have the unfortunate circumstance of being injured by falling, whether you slip on oil or if you trip over a doorstep that's too high, you might need to be compensated for that. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. For those of you who don't know us, my name is Attorney Joy Fairell. I'm the managing partner here at Fairell Roy and Associates. We do family law and we do personal injury. Attorney Hall heads up the personal injury department. That's why she's here today. She's our expert. She'll tell you about herself. She's been in the game over a decade, just like myself. So we definitely believe we're the best to do it. So, Attorney Hall, go ahead and let them know. Uh, do you wave? You like to wave? Tell them hey.
I like to wave. Hi, guys. I just feel so honored she let me wave. Hi, I'm attorney Kimberly Hall. As attorney Farrell said, I oversee the personal injury department here at Fairell Roy Associates. I have been doing personal injury now as an attorney for 10 years and 3 years prior to that as a paralegal. So I have about 13 years in personal injury. And so it's just so important for us to bring these videos to you so we can give you the correct information. And as we've said on our other videos, personal injury is such a saturated topic in that we hear it all the time, the TV, the commercial, the martyr buses, like we hear it everywhere, see it everywhere. And so it's just important for us to make sure that you are getting the correct information about what you should do before a personal injury happens to you or to someone that you know.
And if at any point you guys are seeing this because you're searching for personal injury attorneys, or if you're just getting educated, which is what we're encouraging you to do, just go ahead and screenshot this or save us to your phone. You can find us at prettysmartlawyers.com or farrellfirm.com. The phone number is 678-973-2803. Save that to your phone, because when the accident occurs, you're gonna be like, what was their name? The what firm? Y'all gonna be googling black women lawyers Atlanta. Like, will probably come up in that search. But you don't want to have to do all that. You just want to have it in your phone. And so if you
Right.
domestic issue or personal injury issue, just save us to your phone. That way you can just access us very easily. I'll put the number on the screen for a second too. So if you want to just go ahead and screenshot that, you'll have that as well. So we'll go ahead and hop right into our conversation today. Like I said, we're talking about the slip and fall case and what you should do um, if this happens to you. So first thing you should do, actually, I'm going to click on another one because what I actually think the first thing you should do is, so I'm going to go out of order here.
That's
First
good.
thing you should do is,
Make a report.
yeah.
Yes, 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 yes. I cannot stress that enough. The reporting on slip and falls is so important. And the reason that I say that it works a little differently than a car accident. That report, like, it has to be made. One, because the company, the store that you're in, right, they have their policies and procedures they have to follow when somebody reports a slip and fall or being injured in their store, or something, fell on top of them. They have their procedures and protocols that they have to do. And them doing their procedures and protocols help to maintain the preservation of your case, the evidence of your case. And so it's so important. A lot of times people are like, oh, well, I talked to somebody and they just told me to call, right? And so they don't make sure a report is taken. They don't really get the names of the people that they speak to. And all of that is important. And I hate to tell you how many times I've had to turn away cases because the documentation just isn't there. They don't know who they spoke to. That person didn't make a report. Now it may be 2-3 weeks later, and now you're trying to get video. That video is gone because they only keep it on file for so long. So there are so many things that go into what stores have to do procedurally on a slip and fall. So I don't care if you got to get home to pick your kids up. You need to have somebody pick your kids up, and you need to stay and make sure that that report is taken. Whoever the employee that came up to you first name, last name, whoever the manager was, first name, last name, the time that it was. Because you'll get on the phone with these insurance company and they'll be like, oh, we don't have a manager by that name. Because you saying the name Scott, the name Sam, and they know it's Sam, right? But still, so make the report, people. It's so important on a slip and fall. Don't let it go. Don't think just because maybe you got up and bought something, now you got a receipt. Like, no, you need to make a report. It's so important. Attorney
And like,
Fairell.
like Attorney Hall was saying, most stores have a protocol for incidents. And when you go outside of protocol, anytime you're outside of protocol on any job, anything, things get very fuzzy. And
Mm-hmm.
so if you have the opportunity to review that incident report, sometimes they'll let you write down what happened and then they write it down and then you sign it. Sometimes they'll write it and then have you sign it. Don't sign nothing. That's not what you said. Okay. If they say something wrong, cross that out or tell them, like, no, this is not what happened. Be very specific. What aisle was I on when I fell? I
Yeah.
was on aisle 4. I was on the bread aisle. What was it? Where was it located? Did I fall? Did I trip? Who else was around? If a lot of times if you fall and you have good Samaritans, somebody's gonna come over
They
to
do.
help you. Get their information. Most people leave their information. Like, hey, if you need anything, call me. But some people don't. But with the use of smartphones, and I know you're hurt and on the floor, but just say, hey, can I get your contact information? Can you shoot me a text message just in case something comes of this and I may need to have you as a witness? I'm telling you, an unbiased, uninvolved witness is so strong to your case. You got a person who don't care nothing about you or what your money is or about the store, and they're just saying, hey, I was on this aisle and they slipped and I saw it and blah 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 blah. That goes a long way. So
Yeah. And so many cases get won and lost exactly on what Attorney Farrell is saying. I had a client who slipped and fell in a Kroger, and it was a big water spill. Maybe somebody had like an ice bag there, whatever it was. And as soon as he got up, his wife took a picture. And so there was no denying like that this existed and what was there and how hard he actually fell, because the puddle was, of a good size. I've done pretty much any story you can think of at this point in my career. But I've had to turn away cases because people don't make the reports. They get up, they finish their shopping, and then they get hurt. They feel that they're hurt, and then the next day they're calling back. And so understand, I'm just gonna keep it real with you. Every store, department store, Macy's, or Walmart, Target, I don't care what store it is, they have a bottom line number that they have to meet. And that bottom line number includes accidents, slip and falls in their stores. It includes their employees getting hurt, and it includes outside people getting hurt as well. So guess what? If you don't push a report, they're not going to push a report, right? Because you may not even call back. And guess what? That money doesn't come off the bottom line of their store, and those managers make their bonuses. And so, you know, it isn't about just taking money from the store, but it is about you adequately, you know, putting the things in place to preserve your case, because a lot of times the reality is you really don't know how hurt you are, right?
Exactly.
A lot of people just jump up because they're embarrassed. That's the first thing. Yeah, the second thing is like, I mean, most people just casually stroll through the grocery store, right? Department store is a little different, but grocery stores, they do not. A lot of times they're getting in here, they need to get dinner for their family, pick up their lunch, they got to go get their kids, they got to get back to work, whatever it is. And so a lot of times people just get on up, you know, finish their shopping and walk on out the store. And now they're calling me like, but hey, I got a receipt. And I'm like, hey, who did you shop to? Oh, I don't know. The manager asked me was okay. I said, yeah.
And we talked about this in the other video. This is like when you should hire a personal injury attorney. We talked about the slip and fall thing. So if you fall, don't finish your grocery shopping. Okay. Don't do that.
Don't go to the store, people. Like,
don't get up and keep walking. Okay. We're gonna get up and we're gonna go find a manager. And we're gonna leave that buggy there. And I know like nobody wants to come back in here and do this, but if you are hurt, like hurt people don't
keep
finish shopping. I mean, you know, I would want to because I don't want to come back, but you know, just don't. Just put an order in online or whatever, but don't finish shopping because they have surveillance like every 3 or 4 feet in the store. So if you get up and you just keep going, you're just like browsing the rice on the shelves and like looking like nothing's wrong with you. It's gonna be a hard sell to be like, oh, they're so miserable, and it's like, well, they got right up,
Right.
and they kept shopping, and I mean, browsing, not even like hurt shopping.
Because they one more item and walked out.
Right, exactly. So don't.
And sometimes you can combat that, and sometimes you cannot.
Yeah.
So don't. I would just say the rule of thumb really is do not. Some people still like to purchase like a thing. Like I've had clients, they still purchase a thing of gum to show like they were in the store, because people will be like, oh, we never met the client, we don't know what they're talking about. So and let me just add to the about making a report. If you slip and fall in the parking lot, a lot of people
good point.
They don't think about that, about those parking lot incidents. And that, I mean, and on the legal side, it can get a little tricky, private parking, who's responsible for the parking lot. But most of the time, whoever the store you're in, and I'll just use Walmart as an example, if you're in a Walmart store and you come out and you slip and fall in their parking lot or get hit by another car on their parking lot, you know, Walmart can still get involved. They still make the report for you. And then also remember they got video cameras outside. And that'll be another conversation. We'll talk about that another time. But understand that, you know, out there on those properties is important. And I had a client that I had to turn away. Well, we didn't turn her away. We were able to get her a settlement, but it wasn't what it could have been because she slipped and fell in the parking lot going into the store. And then she went in the store and she shopped. And then she came out, but she wasn't very clear about the timing or anything like that. And they were adamant that they never saw.
Okay, I think Attorney Hall.
She was there, or
my eye's messing up a little bit. Kim, you're blanked out.
Mine is.
Yeah, you're back now, but you said they were not sure, or they were adamant about something.
Right, they were adamant that she never shopped their store. They said they never saw her on a video camera at any point in time.
Oh, wow.
And she tried to say who she spoke to, but she didn't really get their names. Again, it puts you in a bad place. And if my memory serves me correctly, when she came to me, it was, you know, a few weeks after this had happened. So it's now trying to go back and pinpoint, you know, weeks later, this incident. So whether in the parking lot or in the store, make sure you are getting it documented.
And we even had a client, and it wasn't a slip or a fall, but it was a store injury because there's other injuries that happen in the store. The client that where the grocery buggy was broke or something, and the ragu
Oh
spaghetti,
yeah,
um,
yeah.
it fell
It cut
because
her
of the
foot.
buggy, and it cut her foot.
Oh,
Um,
that was actually a really good case. I forgot about that one. Yeah, it because the buggy should come down and lock. It shouldn't open up. And so as she was pushing the cart, it opened up. It fell out and cut her foot open. Excellent documentation. Excellent documentation. She took pictures of the buggy. She took pictures of the ragu jar that broke. She took pictures of her foot in the store. She took pictures of her foot when she got to the ER. Like it was no denying, what happened in their store. And I think she had like a snippet of a recording as well, but she got people's names that she talked to. She made the report. They had to actually call the ambulance for her, which, I'm not telling people to beef up their injury, but it don't hurt to say I need an ambulance because if they got to make a report if you say I need an ambulance, right? So again, those things they help your case, like and I'm grateful that she doesn't have like this lifelong injury to her foot, but she went to a point like she couldn't wear heels because of the way that the cut was on her foot. Like those were all things that we had to talk about and discuss. And so again, she had adequate documentation. She had a very severe cut to her foot, so that was a good one, Attorney Farrell.
Yes, that was a good case. And that goes right into the documentation, not just documenting at the store, but documenting exactly what our client did on the phone, your medical records, your like when you're going to the doctor. Now we're going to be able to get that from your doctor, but you also need to keep up with that stuff so that if there's any dispute ever, you can say XYZ because what is undisputed for me is my calendar. So if it's on my calendar, I can tell you something happened. I can tell you exactly when it happened and what time it happened. And so if you need to go and check some footage or some records or whatever, I can tell you, what day, what time, etc. So you want to be very thorough as you keep up with that stuff. I talked about it in that earlier video, but my mom had a slip and fall case with Walgreens, and they had laundry detergent that had spilled down the aisle from the bathroom, something of that nature. And she slipped, and she took she called me, told me she was hurt. My mom had back issues. I told her, "Girl, go back in that store and take all them pictures of everything on the floor, all of that." And so she did all of that, and we were able to recover very well for her. And they gave a lot of pushback on it, but it was clear. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and also, I just want to say, as a good Samaritan, and this is what I do: if I'm in a store and I see a hazard,
Pick it up.
do something about it. And
Yep.
so when I was at Publix recently, there was some type of spill in the aisle. It was kind of off to the side, but it was there. And if you were, looking up, because you looking up at food, so you're not looking down, somebody was gonna fall. So what I did, I took the stuff off the shelves and I surrounded the liquid so that if you run over the liquid and the rice box, that's just you. But
Mm-hmm.
I tried to put it there so that no one will be hurt. And also on the next aisle, when I saw the next worker, I said, "Hey, over there, I put the stuff around it, but there's a spill over there. You guys need to get up." And because that goes into like, should the store have been on notice? How long was the stuff on the floor? But if somebody done put something around it, like, y'all definitely should have been on notice by then. Now I'm not gonna go and tell the manager and say, "Hey, I need to make a report that I told y'all." So when somebody called, they got proof. No, I ain't gonna do all that. But if you are just being a good Samaritan, be on the lookout for other people, man, because people out here really like hurting their backs for life.
Right.
So,
Right.
just stop and put something around it. Tell somebody, tell the person out, "Hey, watch your step," whatever.
Yeah, and it's such a good point. And I know sometimes we can be in the mindset, well, I ain't spill it, I ain't cleaning it up, but it is really serious. People really do get hurt. And I think we talked about this case on another live, and the lady, we couldn't recover for her because it was not the store's fault. It was just another shopper who had milk and it had spilled, and she went to put it, she was being a good, like, Samaritan, like went to put it back in the cooler, but it had dripped all the way through the store. And soon as she hit the corner where the coolers were, she fell. And I mean, it was literally like, it was like 5 seconds, right? Because we watched the video, it was 5 seconds. And the store just wasn't responsible. And I mean, had that lady just stopped to, put her hand at the bottom of the milk or get, some tissue to wipe that up, and that lady back is jacked for the rest of her life. And she gets no financial recovery. And so, outside of yourself, right, just think about, it may not be you, but it may be somebody else. And that lady, like, she was worked for a cleaning service, and she had to quit her job because it was no way that she could do it. Her back was jacked up, And so it's so important that we look out for other people, not just ourselves. That documentation is very important, because the documentation, one part of that is making a report, but the other documentation are your pictures, are your witnesses. Like, if it's people there, say, please, can I have your first name and last name and telephone number? Because if I need somebody to tell what happened, would you say that for me? Would you be willing to tell what really happened? And we always think, and I think as people, we should, that the store is going to do the right thing.
Yeah.
Bottom line numbers. I understand this is money for them. And if they don't have to pay it, they're not going to pay it.
Emails too, guys, because people change their phone numbers.
True.
I got my same number from way back in the day, but people out here are changing their numbers. So most people tend to keep email addresses a lot longer, whether they check them frequently or not. So get something solid. Even if you had to get a Instagram handle, like get something other than a phone number, because by the time we start calling, those numbers are now assigned to someone else, and we cannot contact them. So just ask for email addresses and stuff like that as well.
Definitely a good point.
The other thing you should do, even though it's not a car accident, is medical treatment.
Yes, absolute important to your case. And I would really jump on the side to say, a lot of times people are more hurt in a slip and fall than they are in auto accident.
There's no protection. It's like,
yeah, there's no protection. There is
no
complete
braking,
impact.
no seatbelt.
Yep, none of that. And so, and now that I think about it, like, yeah, most of my slip and fall people have been severely injured. You hitting concrete, you are hitting the floor. Their floors are very hard. They're made for people to walk on them and not tear up. So understand your body is making direct impact, with the floor, the concrete, if it happens to be outside or anything like that. So it's so important that you seek medical treatment and to do it immediately. Like, don't just be like, oh, I slipped and fell in that store the other day, I'm just a little sore. And a lot of times it's not soreness, people. Like, it is a injury. It is a hip injury. It is a severe back injury. It is a severe neck injury. You name it, I've seen it, at this point. Wrists having surgery on them, people fracturing their elbow, like, you name it, I have seen it. And so do not think it's just soreness, because a lot of times it's not. It is an injury from that slip and fall.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, people who are non-confrontational or try to be, nice and stuff, don't want to make a big deal, don't want to be seen as the person who's trying to come up on a dollar, they tend to say, oh no, I'm fine, I'm okay. And then you're the one that leaves, and then in 2 or 3 days you're like, oh my God, I'm not okay. And so you start calling the store back. It's like, who are you now? Oh, you were here when? Like,
Right.
No, never heard of that. Nope. So, just always err on the side of caution. Get seen. If you have the primary care doctor, sure. If you don't want to go to urgent care, if you don't have a primary care doctor, hit up the urgent care. And I say try to be mindful of these doctors and the urgent care ERs. Now, you don't need to go and have a whole CT scan workup if it's if it's your wrist, or, you don't need them doing all this and like running up unnecessary bills to say, oh, there's nothing wrong. So, ask questions about like, hey, what is this going to show? Like, okay, you checking my knee, but I said my wrist hurt. So why are we looking at my knee? Ask questions, because that's a fear that people worry about. Like, I'm going to end up with this huge medical bill that's not going to be paid.
Mhm.
Um, so just be mindful of get the medical treatment, but don't go in there and be like uneducated about what these doctors are doing. Ask questions.
Absolutely.
Another tip is to don't make silly statements. In particular, we're talking about like on your social media, because all that, and in your report also, when you're reporting it to the management or anything like that. But your social media is highly discoverable. Even on our videos that we do, to us, they disappear after 24 hours, but they're always there. And they're subject to review, if the case goes to litigation. So don't say anything. Um, don't really post anything about it either, or don't post, you doing something, that may be physically difficult, but 2 days ago you said, I got hurt in a slip and fall. So be mindful of those social media posts, post any type of accident.
Yeah, or telling your on that social media, I had a case we'll never forget. The lady was saying, telling me that she couldn't wear high heels anymore, and it was very painful for her. And just so happened, she walked into her doctor's appointment with a pair of high heels on, and the doctor put it in his records. Because she was complaining about all this severe pain, and I mean, he put it in there to make a point, that the doctor can't come out and really say you're not hurt, but that's what he was saying, and
Hmm.
it really hurt her case on the back end.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
So that social media stuff is important. What's happening at your doctor's appointment is that it's important. Don't lie. Don't lie about the stuff.
Because they
Just
actually notate how you present.
they do.
Like, client came in well dressed, well groomed, not well dressed, well groomed, appeared to be in pain, appeared to not be in pain. Client had on
Mhm.
6-inch heels. Stuff like that does go in there. So keep that in
It
mind.
does.
The last thing you should do, but definitely not the least important thing you should do, that we're going to talk about, is consult with our lawyers. So give us a call on the personal injury side of things. There's no fee for you to call and have a conversation about your case. There's no money. Um, Call will usually get you in either, if not that day, within the next day or so, to have a conversation about your case, because we know that time is of the essence when it comes to these injury cases. So all you have to do is call. We'll put you over on the calendar, have a conversation, and we'll let you know honestly. Hey, we think you have a case. Hey, we don't think you have a case. Or if we need to explore more, we're going to tell you the pros and cons of moving forward. We're going to tell you our experience with that particular store, kind of how they do things or how they don't do things, and all of that. So definitely always call a lawyer, especially with these cases. They're so unique. It's not quite like you have an auto accident. The other insurance company 9 times out of 10 gonna be calling you like, hey,
Right.
there was an accident, so let me go ahead and wrap this up. With a slip and fall, ain't nobody reaching out to you because nobody know what you're gonna do with it. Like, are you gonna pursue this? Or we're not gonna rock the boat. You got to find out who the insurance company is. It's not like you have a car accident, you have to exchange that information. I
Right.
call Publix, they don't have to tell me who their insurance provider is. You got to go through lawyers so we can get that stuff for you.
Absolutely. And slip and falls, they're so time sensitive. And they're time sensitive really because of the video cams, and also the reporting, because sometimes managers, they switch stores. They could be here today and 6 months from now work at another location.
Right.
And so getting what we send is what's called a spoliation letter, which is, hey, you can't destroy this evidence. You can't get rid of this video cam footage. Like, you can't do this. Like, whatever emails were sent out about this, like, you have to save it. So there are steps that go in place, from the legal side of your case for the attorney to do for you. So it's very important that you call us, after this happens, because you need to know what to do. And if you've missed a step, then it's easier to correct the step or go back and fix the mistake a day later
Right.
versus 6 months later or 3 months
Right.
later or 3 weeks later. So making that call to us for the preservation of your case it's of utmost importance.
I agree. Absolutely. So that's everything for today, guys. Hopefully, you guys feel confident and educated about slip and falls. We hope you never do. But if you do, make sure we're your number one call. Enjoy the rest of your day.